Greetings everyone, it's Kaz here with an EA discussion video because it is all the rage to discuss EA in the gaming industry at the moment, but there has been even more news surrounding EA's terrible microtransaction practices, and I honestly don't know how it can get any worse at this point for them. And the fact of the matter is, with these recent news stories, they're the ones that are making it worse for themselves. Which is why today, I generally just wanted to pose the question, can EA get any more idiotic? Is it possible at this point? And the reason I say that is because they've had some terrible press surrounding Battlefront 2 with so many boycotting the game. This has been a PR nightmare for EA to deal with, and as I mentioned, they're just making it worse for themselves. They may as well be digging their own graves at this point, to be honest. Now, by that, I don't mean that they're going to go out of business or anything like that. That's definitely not going to happen. But all of this press, all of this negativity has undoubtedly affected their business model, and it will continue to affect it into the future. That is how drastic all of this negative feedback has been for Star Wars Battlefront 2. So I'm specifically talking about some recent comments that have been in the news that I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about, where EA's CFO made some really bizarre comments that, number one, really make no sense, and number two, are always going to infuriate everyone that reads them. I've genuinely got no idea what this bloke was thinking when he said the stuff he said. So the first big thing that everyone freaked out about, that Blake Jorgensen, I don't really know how to say that name, I apologise. He's the CFO of EA, and the first of the controversial things that everyone's going to freak out about things that he said is that people don't really care about linear games nowadays. He was talking about the cancelled Visceral Star Wars game, and here's what he had to say. As we kept reviewing the game, it continued to look like a much more linear game, which people don't like as much today as they did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Now, when he said that, when those words came out of his mouth, you've got an enraged fan base. When the gaming community hates your guts, that's not something you say. When everyone already hates what you're doing, when everyone already thinks that you hate single player games and you're all for monetization through microtransactions, you don't go out there and say, yeah, people don't like linear games. Now, is there truth to his statement? Not really. I sort of understand where he's coming from, but I feel like he just worded it in the worst possible way. What I gathered he's essentially saying is that less money is made off of linear games nowadays because the increased cost of making games. It just doesn't make as much sense these days to make and focus on high budget linear experiences. Yet he chose to word that comment in the weirdest possible way, as if he wants people to hate him. He also stated in regards to Visceral's cancelled game that, quote, you gotta cut the bridge when you realise you can't make a lot of money on something. Again, just a really bad choice of words that's inevitably gonna piss off so many gamers. Kinda comes across like he's never done anything PR related in the games business at all ever. Like, I don't know much at all about how games and the business side of them work compared to people in the industry. But I think I would have the common sense to not say something like this, especially when your company is facing this much scrutiny. But it gets worse, ladies and gentlemen, when the same man, the CFO of EA, was asked about Battlefront 2's future microtransaction systems and about why they didn't just implement cosmetic only in the first place, he decided to say this: the one thing we're very focused on, and they're extremely focused on, is not violating the canon of Star Wars. It's an amazing brand that's been built over many, many years, so if you did a bunch of cosmetic things, you might start to violate the canon. Darth Vader in white probably doesn't make sense versus in black. Not to mention, you probably don't want Darth Vader in pink. No offense to pink, but I just don't think that's right in the canon. That statement makes the guy come off like an idiot and like he has no idea what he's talking about in regards to Star Wars. When people want cosmetic things in their games, they're not asking for a pink Darth Vader. Who the hell wants a pink Darth Vader? That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. There is almost infinite possibilities for cosmetic options in Star Wars Battlefront 2 that do not violate the canon. So for him to say we don't want to violate the canon because we can't do pink Darth Vader, I mean, seriously, does it get more stupid than this on an executive level of a games company? It's made even more strange by the fact that cosmetic options, canon cosmetic options that make sense within the universe, have already been found in Star Wars Battlefront 2's files, which means they are most likely heading to the game in the near future, which is super exciting. So why would he go out of his way to say we weren't a big fan of doing cosmetic options because we don't want pink Darth Vader, and then literally at around the same time it leaks that cosmetic options are coming to the game, and they're awesome looking, and they make perfect sense in the said canon. EA has got such a bad rap at this point in time. They've always had a pretty negative connotation with them, but at this point, it's about as bad as it gets with them. This whole EA scandal seemingly never stops getting news updates surrounding it, so I guess this won't be the last time I have to talk about EA most likely. But at this point, seriously, in recent memory, I don't think a games company gets more idiotic than EA. So as always, please leave your thoughts on this topic in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to check out some of my other content on the channel and subscribe if you like what you see. I'll see you all in the next video. Please do take care and farewell.